Retirement in America just took a hard turn, and it's not the dream people were promised. Across the country, states are hitting retirees with a perfect storm of rent spikes, insurance hikes, extreme weather, and disappearing housing. And the fallout is massive. R-Vee parks are jammed. Waitlists are exploding. Entire communities are shifting into rigs because they've run out of options fast. But here's where it gets even worse. The states losing retirees the quickest are the same ones millions still believe are affordable. They're not. Not anymore. Something underneath the surface finally cracked. And now the numbers are impossible to ignore. If you're planning your next move or your next decade, you need to see this. Let's count down from number 10, Florida. The warning signs in this state show up long before the storms ever hit. It begins with a bill, the kind that shows up every year and quietly grows until it crushes a fixed income. Home insurance premiums across the state have climbed by more than 40 to 70% since 2021, and the receipts tell the truth. Policies that once cost $800 now show totals of $2,000 and more. Retirees who spent decades planning steady budgets watched those numbers jump in a single renewal cycle, and many simply could not keep up. Then came the storms. 2 major hurricanes tore through the state in back-to-back seasons, wiping out entire blocks of rentals and turning the search for shelter into a race against thousands of other households. Pad rents at coastal parks rose to $1,200, $1,400, even $1,800 per month, and every space filled instantly. One manager in Fort Myers reported a wait list of more than 300 people for fewer than 100 openings. That kind of math leaves no margin. Electricity costs land another blow. An R-Vee sitting in Florida's summer heat is a metal oven. Keeping an air conditioning unit running around the clock often adds $300 to $500 to the utility bill every month. Without hookups, the alternative is a gasoline generator, burning through more than $400 of fuel. Either way, the expense is relentless, and one unexpected repair can send the entire plan sideways. Retirees who once pictured quiet mornings now juggle rising premiums, storm risk, and utility spikes that refuse to settle. The financial pressure builds step by measured step. And the pattern in Florida sets the stage for everything that follows. Because when a state that once promised relief becomes this expensive to endure, the next stop on the list reveals exactly how widespread the problem has become. The pressure here is only the beginning of trouble. Arizona. Heat is only part of the story in Arizona, but it is the part that hits first. When the thermometer holds above 115 degrees for week after week, an R-Vee is no longer a vehicle. It becomes a metal chamber fighting the sun. Air conditioning units run without rest, and the electric bills that follow are not small miscalculations. Many retirees report monthly totals reaching $380, $420, even $500 just to keep indoor temperatures below dangerous levels. These numbers come straight from utility statements across Phoenix and the surrounding valleys. And they tell a blunt truth. The cost of surviving the heat is now higher than the cost of renting in earlier years. Then comes the housing pressure. Rent across Phoenix has risen by more than 67% since 2020. And the surge did not slow even when the semiconductor boom stalled. Factories from Intel and the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company promised thousands of positions. But delays, construction setbacks, and revised hiring timelines locked the market in place. Job seekers stayed, families stayed, investors stayed, and retirees found fewer and fewer affordable options. An R-Vee pad that once cost $600 a month now posts rates of $1,200 or more during peak periods. And many parks charge additional fees for electricity because of the nonstop cooling demand. Water adds another layer. In desert heat, onboard tanks warm quickly, and constant refilling becomes a routine that drains both time and money. Battery banks discharge faster while trying to power ventilation, and generator use pushes fuel costs upward with every hour. None of this appears on glossy brochures, but every detail shows up on receipts. Arizona's challenge is not one issue. It is a stack of pressures that grow heavier each season. And when a region this iconic becomes this financially punishing, the next state on the list shows how rising costs can reshape an entire way of living. If you're following this shift and want to stay ahead of it, hit like so this reaches more viewers, subscribe for the next breakdown, and add your thoughts below. Every update helps build a clearer picture of what's unfolding across these states. Nevada. The moment tourism returned, something else quietly broke. It begins in the quiet neighborhoods where service workers used to live. The same neighborhoods retirees once depended on for stable, affordable rentals. When tourism roared back after the shutdown years, hotel floors filled, tables reopened, and casinos surged. But housing never returned with the same strength. Rents that once hovered near $1,000 for a modest one-bedroom jumped to $1,800, $1,900, even more than $2,200 in many parts of Las Vegas. These increases show up plainly on listing histories across Clark County, and they left thousands searching for anything they could still afford. That shift pushed many toward the outskirts. Towns like Pahrump, roughly an hour west of Las Vegas, became pressure valves for people priced out of the city. R-Vee parks there began posting monthly pad rates of $800 to $1,000 and still filled quickly. Retirees hoping for stability found themselves competing with workers who were simply trying to stay close enough to keep their jobs. Every full park meant another round of phone calls, another wait list, another drive across the desert to check availability. And with daytime temperatures often crossing 100 degrees, each mile added both fuel cost and wear on older rigs. Electricity costs layered on top. Even in more affordable rural parks, metered power consumption can easily reach $200 or $300 a month during long summer spells. Those figures come straight from utility postings shared by park residents. Add the price of gasoline for repeated drives into the city, and the budget strains become unavoidable. Nevada's challenge is not about entertainment or attraction, it is about imbalance. The jobs returned rapidly, but the housing never caught up. And when a state built on movement and momentum cannot offer a steady place to stay, the financial pressure pushes people toward the next possible option. The next state in this countdown shows exactly how quickly that pressure can turn into something far more restrictive: Oregon. Here, the pressure begins not with cost, but with enforcement. Many arrive expecting a softer, more flexible system, only to learn that the policies on paper tell a very different story. In cities like Portland, an R-Vee is allowed to remain parked on any public street for no more than 12 hours, not 12 days, not even 72 hours, which many other regions still accept. Exactly 12 hours, and then the clock strikes. Parking enforcement teams drive block to block, marking tires, logging plates, and issuing citations that start small but grow sharply with each repeat. These notices are not rare. They are daily routines. Housing costs add weight to the problem. Over the past several years, average rents in Portland and surrounding areas have climbed by more than 50%, a trend reflected in listing archives throughout the region. A one-bedroom apartment that once cost $1,400 now posts at $2,100 or more. Income levels did not climb at the same pace, leaving many longtime residents caught between rising monthly payments and shrinking availability. For those who attempted to bridge the gap by shifting into an R-Vee, the enforcement trap sprung almost immediately. Every tow order becomes a heavy financial blow. Release fees range from $400 to more than $900 depending on distance and storage duration. This does not include the cost of repairing damage caused during the tow, such as broken steps, bent jacks, or damaged wiring harnesses. Residents share these figures openly, and the evidence appears in every tow yard receipt. The pattern is unmistakable. High costs push people into mobile living, while the rules push that mobile living out of sight. The result is constant movement, constant stress, and constant financial erosion. And as Oregon tightens the margins, the next state on this list shows how weather, not policy, can break a budget even faster. Colorado. At altitude, cold weather exposes every weakness in an R-Vee. Temperatures in mountain towns often drop well below 0 degrees, and every degree lost turns into a new expense. Propane tanks that once lasted a week disappear in 48 hours, forcing repeated refills that cost far more than most expect. Many residents report spending $300 to $400 each month just to keep pipes from freezing overnight. Water systems become fragile at high elevation, and a single frozen line can burst and create repairs reaching well over $1,000. Service shops across the Rockies share the same pattern on invoices, showing cracked fittings, damaged tanks, and insulation failures caused by relentless winter cycles. Housing adds a second layer of pressure because mountain communities price most rentals far beyond what fixed incomes can manage. Small studios that once listed near $1,500 now appear at $2,800 or even higher during peak seasons. Those unable to keep up often move into older R-Vee models, only to learn that altitude exposes every weakness in aging insulation. Cold air seeps through window seals, furnaces cycle constantly, and batteries drain faster than they can recharge in thin mountain air. Even the drive between towns becomes a cost factor, because steep grades force engines to work harder and burn more fuel. People who moved here for quiet scenery soon discover that winter demands constant vigilance and constant spending simply to maintain livable conditions. Every receipt tells a similar story, from repeated propane purchases to unexpected service calls that compound with altitude-related strain. Colorado's challenge is not one dramatic problem, but a series of small, relentless pressures that add up with surprising speed. And as winter tightens its grip, the next state in this countdown shows how sudden shocks can overwhelm a budget even faster. That impact arrives with sharp financial consequences. North Carolina. Hurricane Helen tore through the western part of the state and changed the entire housing landscape in less than 2 days. Whole neighborhoods in Asheville, Hendersonville, and nearby mountain towns lost more than 40% of their rental units in one sweep. The damage totals appeared on insurance summaries, city briefings, and local news reports, each showing block after block marked as uninhabitable. For many longtime residents, the outcome was immediate. Their homes were gone, their leases ended, and their options narrowed to whatever shelter they could find within hours. That is when R-Vees entered the picture, not as lifestyle choices, but as the only remaining fallback. Dealers across the region reported sudden demand for older travel trailers, mid-1990s motorhomes, and anything towable under $20,000. Prices that should have held steady surged because people were buying out of necessity, not preference, and while supply vanished, rental rates shot upward. A one-bedroom apartment in Asheville that once cost $1,400 suddenly climbed to $2,400 or more. These figures come straight from listing histories that track every monthly update, utility costs layered on top. R-Vees parked in temporary lots relied on portable heaters, extended cords, and constant propane refills. A single cold snap could push monthly heating expenses toward $300, and that did not include generator fuel or emergency repairs for older rigs dealing with heavy moisture. Service shops around the region documented frequent leaks, swollen panels, and damaged seals caused by rapid weather swings. North Carolina's shift did not unfold slowly. It arrived in one violent push, reshaping budgets and living arrangements across entire counties. The rental spike that followed pushed fixed-income households to the edge, leaving many with no realistic housing options, except whatever rolling shelter they could secure. And as this pressure settled in, the next state on the list demonstrates how even long-promised affordability can disappear under the weight of rising demand and tightening rules. Texas. The illusion of affordability disappears the moment the bills arrive. They show up slowly in the fine print of property tax bills, in rising lease renewals, and in the parking ordinances most people never read until it is too late. For years, the state carried a reputation for wide-open affordability, but that picture has shifted, and the numbers prove it. In Austin, a two-bedroom apartment that once listed for roughly $1,500 now appears at $3,000 or more. That is a doubling of cost in less than 5 years, documented through listing archives and rental reports that track every jump. The pressure does not stop there. Property taxes in several Texas counties have climbed by 20 to 30%, and those increases hit fixed incomes with particular force. When budgets tighten, people often turn to an R-Vee as a fallback. Yet major Texas cities have reshaped the rules around them. In Austin, San Antonio, and Dallas, an R-Vee cannot remain parked on most public streets for more than 24 hours. Enforcement teams mark tires, record timestamps, and issue fines that stack with each violation. A tow order can cost well over $1,200 to release, and storage fees rise by the day. Residents share these figures openly, and each receipt tells the same story. Fuel adds another layer. Texas is large, and distances between affordable parks can stretch for 40, 50, even 60 miles. Every relocation burns additional gasoline, and older rigs do not sip fuel lightly. One move can cost $30. Several moves per week become a serious budget drain. And when parks outside the cities raise monthly rates to $700, $800, or more than $1,000, the promise of affordability evaporates. Texas still offers space, but space alone does not cover rising costs. The illusion breaks the moment the bills arrive. And, as heavy as these pressures feel, the next state in this countdown shows what happens when every cost increases at once, leaving almost no room for stability. Before we continue, make sure you're subscribed. The next chapters move quickly, and the details change faster than most people realize. Staying connected here ensures you never miss the updates that help you understand where stability is holding and where it is disappearing. California. The shift in this state becomes undeniable the moment you look at the coast. Rows of R-Vees line the shoulders, each one holding someone who once believed they could afford to retire in the state they spent their lives working in. The numbers are impossible to ignore. State reports estimate more than 150,000 people living in vehicles, and a significant share of them are older residents on fixed incomes. This shift did not appear overnight. It arrived as rents in major cities pushed past $2,600, $2,800, even more than $3,400 for a modest one-bedroom apartment. These figures come straight from listing histories in San Francisco, San Jose, and Los Angeles. Even when corporate layoffs hit the Bay Area, rent did not fall. Instead, landlords tightened screening and raised security deposits, shutting out retirees who could once make the math work. That is when older R-Vee models became a fallback. People purchased 1980s motorhomes, early 2000 travel trailers, and compact Class C rigs simply to secure a roof they could control. But California adds a second challenge. Utilities and repairs cost more here than almost anywhere else in the country. Labor rates at many service centers exceed $150 per hour, and water intrusion repairs often total $3,000 to $7,000. The constant ocean moisture makes those repairs a recurring burden, not a one-time fix. Parking limits introduce another strain. Safe parking programs offer only a few hundred spaces statewide, while the need stretches into the tens of thousands. Enforcement varies by city, but tow orders, citations, and forced relocations appear week after week on municipal logs. California's weight comes from every direction at once. Rent, utilities, labor, enforcement, and a cost of living that rises faster than retirement income can adjust. And as heavy as this reality feels, the next state in this countdown shows how a different kind of pressure can break a budget even faster, simply by reshaping the entire housing market beneath people's feet. Idaho. This market didn't crack slowly. It snapped the instant outside money arrived. When remote work exploded in 2020, people from coastal cities sold condominiums for $800,000, $900,000, even more than $1 million, and moved into Boise with cash in hand. That money hit a market that was never designed for that level of buying power. Home prices surged by more than 89% in 4 years, rising from the low 300s into the high 500s and beyond. These increases appear in every housing chart published by the state, and they reshaped the region almost overnight. Longtime residents felt the impact immediately. Retirees who planned to downsize found themselves outbid again and again. A house that once sold for $250,000 suddenly listed for $400,000, and offers came in above asking within hours. Many who sold their homes to capture equity realized they could not buy back in. Apartments followed the same path. Monthly rents that once hovered around $1,100 climbed to $2,100 or more. For someone living on a fixed income, the math simply broke. That pushed many toward older R-Vee models. Early 2000 Class C rigs, towable trailers, and compact motorhomes offered control when rentals no longer did. But Idaho's limited year-round parks, $700 to $1,100 pad fees, harsh winters, heavy propane use, and frequent freeze damage repairs quickly erased any sense of affordability. Idaho did not collapse due to storms or enforcement. It collapsed because outside buying power reshaped the market faster than local incomes could adjust. And when a market moves that quickly, the final state in this countdown shows what happens when both cost and climate combine to make retirement stability nearly impossible. Washington. The truth in this region appears the second the rain settles in. Moisture settles into everything here, and an R-Vee sitting along the curb absorbs it like a sponge. Roof seams soften. Window frames sweat. Wall panels swell. Then the repair bills show up, often totaling $3,000, $4,000, even as high as $7,000 for water intrusion work alone. Service centers across King County and Pierce County publish these numbers openly, and the pattern repeats through every estimate. Aging rigs simply cannot keep moisture out, not when it rains more than 150 days each year. But the weather is only half the story. The tech economy in Washington changed direction almost overnight. Large companies across the region eliminated more than 40,000 positions in a span of 2 years. Those layoffs pushed thousands into the rental market with severance money, but no long-term income, and landlords tightened criteria instantly. A one-bedroom near Seattle that once listed for $1,600 climbed to $2,800 or more, with some neighborhoods demanding first month, last month, and security deposits that total nearly the price of a used R-Vee. With rentals out of reach, many turned to older motorhomes, towable rigs, and compact Class C models. But Washington's 72-hour parking limits forced non-stop relocation, leading to citations and tow bills topping $1,200. Moisture damage, generator costs, and rising essentials add pressure. Here, climate, cost, and job instability collide, exposing how fragile retirement becomes. That's the full list, and the situation is changing every month. Tell me in the comments, are you seeing R-Vee living explode where you live? Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next breakdown. Bigger changes are already on the way.